Hello everyone and welcome. My name is George and I'm a senior research assistant working as a software engineer in the Deeps Lab at the University of Southampton. I've been responsible for implementing and maintaining the UPCAST Consent Manager platform, and today I'm excited to show you what this tool can do. But before we dive in, let me give you some context about where this tool comes from. The UPCAST project is a European Union initiative funded under Horizon's Research and Innovation Actions. The project brings together 6 partners from 9 countries across Europe, all working towards a common goal. So what is UPCAST all about? UPCAST stands for Universal Platform Components for Safe, Fair, Interoperable Data Exchange, Monetization and Trading. So the project aims to support the deployment of common European data spaces by providing a set of universal, trustworthy, transparent and user-friendly data market plugins. So these plugins automate data sharing and processing agreements between businesses, public administrations, and citizens. So the Consent Manager that I'll be presenting today is one of these essential plugins. It's designed to give data requesters and data owners a secure, transparent platform for creating and exchanging consents for data usage. So here's what we'll cover in today's video. First, I'll explain why this tool matters specifically for small and medium enterprises. Then we'll dive into the main presentation where I'll define how the tool works, explain the key concepts behind it, walk through its architecture, and give you a live demonstration of its core features. Finally, I'll show you step by step how to apply it in real case scenarios. At the end, I'll share some follow-up resources and contact details. So let's get started. Now, you might be wondering why this tool is particularly relevant for small and medium-sized enterprises. Let me explain. In today's digital economy, data has become one of the most valuable assets for businesses of all sizes. But for SMEs, managing data sharing agreements can be complex, time-consuming, and expensive. Many SMEs don't have dedicated legal teams or data governance specialists, yet they still need to comply with regulations like GDPR and manage data sharing relationships with partners, customers, and suppliers. This is exactly where the UPCAST Consent Manager comes in. The tool directly aligns with 3 critical business needs that SMEs face every day. First, efficiency. The Consent Manager automates the consent creation and negotiation process. Instead of spending hours or days going back and forth over data sharing agreements through emails and phone calls, you can manage everything through a centralized, streamlined platform. This saves time and reduces administrative burden significantly. Second, innovation. By simplifying data exchange processes, the Consent Manager enables SMEs to participate more easily in data-driven collaborations and partnerships. You can explore new business opportunities, access valuable data sets, and engage in data marketplaces without being held back by complex legal and technical barriers. Third, cost effectiveness. Traditional consent management and contract negotiation can be expensive, especially when involving legal counsel and manual documentation. The Consent Manager reduces these costs by providing a standardized, automated framework that still maintains legal compliance and transparency. You get enterprise-level data governance capabilities without enterprise-level costs. Beyond these core benefits, the tool ensures that SMEs can operate with confidence in the European data space, knowing that privacy requirements, commercial confidentiality, and regulatory compliance are built into the platform. This means you can focus on business goals while the Consent Manager handles the complexity of data sharing governance. Let's start by defining what the Consent Manager actually does at a fundamental level. So the Consent Manager is a platform designed to facilitate transparent, secure, and automated data sharing agreements between 2 primary actors, data requesters and data owners. Think of it as a digital handshake system where one party requests permission to use specific data, and the other party reviews, negotiates, and approves or declines that request. The tool serves as a neutral intermediary that ensures both parties understand exactly what data is being requested, for what purpose, under what conditions, and for how long. It creates a clear, auditable trial of consent that protects both the data owner's rights and the data requester's legitimate needs. To really understand how the Consent Manager works, there are a few key concepts we need to cover. First, let's talk about ontologies. An ontology is essentially a structured framework that defines the types of data, the relationships, and the categories within a specific domain. In the context of the Consent Manager, ontologies help standardize how we describe and categorize data. This ensures that when a data requester asks for customer contact information, both parties have a shared understanding of what that means. Ontologies eliminate ambiguity and make automated processing possible. Second, we have consent requests. A consent request is a formal proposal sent from a data requester to a data owner. It specifies what data is needed, why it's needed, how it will be used, how long it will be retained, and any other relevant conditions. The beauty of the Consent Manager is that it structures these requests in a standardized format, making them easy to review and compare. Third, consent negotiation. Not every request is accepted as is. Data owners may want to modify the terms, propose different usage restrictions, limit the duration, or add additional safeguards. The negotiation feature allows this back and forth dialogue to happen within the platform, creating a documented trial of the dispute. Third, consent states. Every consent request goes through different states: pending, negotiated, accepted, or rejected. This state management ensures that both parties always know the current status of their agreements and can take appropriate action. Finally, transparency and auditability. Every action in the Consent Manager is logged and traceable. This creates accountability and helps organizations demonstrate compliance with data protection regulations. If there is ever a question about what was agreed to and when, the platform provides a complete record. Now, let's look at how the Consent Manager is structured architecturally. The platform is built around two distinct user interfaces, each tailored to a specific actor in the data exchange process. First, we have the data requester dashboard. This is where organizations or individuals who need access to data operate. From this dashboard, users can perform three main activities. One, they can upload ontologies to define the data categories and structure they're working with. Two, they can create detailed consent requests specifying exactly what data they need under what terms. And three, they can send these requests directly to data owners through the platform. Second, we have the data owner dashboard. This is where organizations or individuals who control data operate. From this dashboard, users can view all incoming consent requests, review the details of what's been asked, accept requests that meet their standards, negotiate terms if modifications are needed, or reject requests that don't align with their policies or comfort level. The architecture ensures that each actor has appropriate visibility and control. Data requesters cannot see data until consent is granted, and data owners maintain full authority over their assets. The system acts as a secure intermediary that facilitates communication and agreement without compromising security or autonomy. Now, it's important to mention that beyond these user interfaces, the Consent Manager also provides a comprehensive set of APIs for programmatic access and integration. This means you can integrate the Consent Manager directly into your existing system and workflows. We provide 5 core APIs: the Register API for creating new user accounts, the Login API for authentication, the Create Request API for programmatically submitting consent requests, the Negotiation API for handling counter-proposals and agreement modifications, and the Sign Contract API for finalizing and executing agreements. These APIs use standard REST protocols, making them easy to integrate with virtually any technology stack your organization uses. Behind the scenes, the platform manages all the technical complexity: user authentication, request routing, state management, notification systems, and audit login. But whether you're using the user interface or the APIs, the experience is designed to be straightforward and intuitive. Now it's time to see the Consent Manager in action. I'm going to walk you through the key features from both perspectives. Let's start from the data requester dashboard. As you can see, when I log in, I'm presented with a clean, organized interface. The first thing I can do is upload an ontology. I'll click on the Upload Ontology button. Here, I can select an ontology file from my system. As we said before, these files define the data structures and categories I'll be working with. Once uploaded, the platform validates the ontology and makes it available for creating requests. Now, let's create a consent request. I'll navigate to the Create Request section. Here, I can see a form where I need to specify several details, like the request name and ontologies to be used. Notice how the interface guides me through each required field. This ensures I don't miss any critical information and helps standardize requests across the platform. Once I've filled everything in, I specify the email of owners I want to send the request to, click Send Request, and the request is immediately routed to the data owners. Now, let's switch perspectives and look at the data owner dashboard. When I log in as a data owner, I can immediately see any pending request. Let's open one to review it. Here I can see all the details the requester has provided, who they are, what data they want, why they need it, and for how long. As a data owner, I have several options. If I'm completely satisfied with the request as is, I can simply click Accept and the consent is granted. If I want to reject the request entirely, I can click Reject and optionally provide a reason. But what's really powerful is a negotiation feature. If I like the request but want to modify certain terms, I can click Negotiate. When I do this, the Consent Manager passes the request to an external negotiation platform that's specifically designed for this purpose. This integration ensures that you have access to sophisticated negotiation tools and workflows. Let me now walk you through a complete real-world scenario to show you how this works in practice. Imagine you're a digital marketing company that wants to access customer behavioral data for an e-commerce platform to create targeted advertising campaigns. Here's how to use the Consent Manager. As a data requester, you start by logging into your data request dashboard. First, you need to upload an ontology that defines the types of marketing and customer data you work with. This ontology might include categories like browsing history, purchase patterns, demographic information, and engagement metrics. You navigate to the Upload Ontology section, select your ontology file, and upload it to the platform. The system validates it and makes it available for creating requests. Now, you're ready to create your consent request. You click on Create Request and begin filling in the form. You give the request name and choose the marketing ontology you just uploaded. Once everything is filled in, you choose the owners and click Send Request. Now, let's look at this for the e-commerce company side. The data owner logs into the data owner dashboard and sees your pending request. They click to review the details and can see everything you specified, what data you want, why you need it, and for how long. The data owner now has three options. If they're completely satisfied with your request, they can simply click Accept and the consent is immediately granted. If they're not comfortable with the request at all, they can click Reject and optionally provide you with a reason for the rejection. If they like the idea but want to modify some terms, they click Negotiate, and the Consent Manager then passes the request to the external negotiation platform. On that platform, the data owner can propose changes. But let's say that they like the idea and accept the request. They can now use the Sign Contract API or the interface to finalize the agreement. The consent is now active and documented. You have clear access to the agreed upon customer behavioral data under the specified terms, and the e-commerce company has confidence that their data is being used appropriately and within the boundaries they've set. This streamlined workflow shows how the Consent Manager transforms what would typically be weeks of back and forth emails and contract reviews into a matter of hours or days. The process is transparent, documented, and efficient for both parties. We've covered a lot of ground today. We've seen how the UPCAST Consent Manager provides a powerful, user-friendly solution for managing data sharing agreements, particularly for SMEs who need enterprise-grade data governance without enterprise-level complexity. The platform embodies the core principle of the UPCAST project, which is making data exchange safe, fair, and interoperable while ensuring compliance with European regulations and ethical standards. For those of you interested in learning more or getting started with the Consent Manager, I want to share some follow-up resources. You can visit the UPCAST project website to learn more about the broader initiative and all the plugins we are developing. There, you will find detailed documentation, use cases from real-world pilots across Europe, and information about our 16 partner organizations. If you have specific questions about the Consent Manager, technical implementation, or how it might fit your organization's needs, please do not hesitate to reach out to the Deeps Lab where our development team is based. We are continuously improving the platform based on feedback from users and pilot partners, so your input is valuable to us. Whether you're a potential data requester, data owner, or simply interested in the future of data sharing in Europe, we'd love to hear from you. Before I close, I want to emphasize that the Consent Manager is a part of a larger ecosystem. It works alongside other UPCAST plugins for data monetization, automated negotiation, privacy protection, and fair pricing. Together, these tools are building the foundation for trusted data spaces across Europe. I want to thank you all for your time and attention today. I hope this demonstration has shown you the potential of the UPCAST Consent Manager and how it can benefit your organization. The future of data sharing is collaborative, transparent, and fair, and tools like this are making the future a reality. If you'd like to see a demo tailored to your specific use case, or if you're interested in participating in our ongoing pilot, please get in touch. We're always looking for organizations that want to be the forefront of this data revolution. Thank you again, and I look forward to seeing how you'll use the Consent Manager to unlock new opportunities for your business.